はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。
Hey everyone, Kakarot197 again, and this time we're gonna have a look at 4 reasons as to why the Titans lost the Gryps War. Number 1, failure to get a good mass-produced unit in the middle stages of the war. Whereas the Ayuk was able to replace almost all of their aged Gym 2s with the Nemo, the Titans were using the Gym 2 and the similarly performing Hyzak until the bitter end. These units were already outdated at the beginning of the Gryps conflict, and despite one upgrade for the Hyzak in the form of the Hyzak Custom, things didn't get any better for them as the war progressed. Instead, the Titans focused more on high-performance prototypes, and unfortunately for them, that is what they stayed, with at best a handful of units produced. Some units, such as the Marasai and the Ashimar, would see larger production runs, but these would still be relatively limited in the grand scheme of things. It wouldn't be until the Barzam that the Titans finally began mass production of a next-generation machine. It was a powerful and very capable general-purpose unit, but too little, too late. Some sources claim that it only saw limited production due to its late introduction, but more recent sources suggest that the Barzam was actually produced in large quantities, despite the short time frame that they had to do so. This would mean that the Titans finally realized that they desperately needed a general-purpose unit, and threw everything they had at it. However, with the Titans losing terrain on all fronts, the Barzam alone could not make the difference. On number 2, we have loss of support from the Federation. Because of the horrendous tactics used by the Titans, they would gradually lose support from the Federation. At first, both the Federation and the Titans would cover up their accidents as best as they could. Unfortunately, the truth has a bad habit of always rising to the surface, and with the Ayuk's rising power, the Titans would resort to ever more underhanded tactics. This culminated at Dakar, where Karaba tried to peacefully take over the Federation Parliament to allow Char to give a speech. The Titans reacted with blatant disregard of the lives of anyone inside of the Parliament and began a battle inside of the city. All of this was captured on camera by Beltorchika Irma and broadcast world and colony-wide. After this, the Federation could no longer sanction the actions of the Titans and decided to distance themselves from their supposed protectors. While this was the PR reason that is often cited, it is very important to note that this was also in the aftermath of Karaba and the Ayuk's first major victory over the Titans at Kilimanjaro. And a few months before this, a major Titan offensive, Operation Apollo, ended in failure. This string of failures undoubtedly convinced the Federation that the Ayuk and Karaba had gotten more powerful than the Titans, and that sticking out their necks for the Titans would eventually result in their own downfall. Officially, the Federation was disgusted by the Titans' actions and consequently withdrew all of their support, putting a halt to Jamatov's plan of having all of the Federation forces under his command. On number 3, we have disillusioned pilots, because the Federation itself wasn't the only one who was done with the Titans. While it's easy to look at their actions and proclaim them to be the villains that they eventually became, this isn't how they went about recruiting people. It is very important to remember the situation that led to their creation. Operation Stardust showed the average Federation soldier 2 things. 1, the Zeon remnants are still a threat, and 2, the Federation is unable to deal with them. Then all of a sudden, this elite organization pops up whose main selling point is that they're going to deal with those fanatics who are threatening you, your family, and the entire planet. And as an added bonus, you automatically become 2 ranks higher, including benefits, and you get a cool new uniform.
These are troubled times that we're living in. We need a military force that's just and noble.
This initially caused a large influx of good-natured pilots such as Emma Sheen, Fort Rome Fellow, Agar, the Titans test team crew, and so on. They all truly believed that they were doing the right thing and protecting the Federation and those they loved. However, they all had to eventually face the truth, no matter how good of a job the Titans censorship did. At this point, those pilots would have to make a decision. They either left or continued telling themselves that it was for the Federation, it was for the overall good, or I didn't want to do it, but orders were orders.
Now then, if this turns into a long war, it could mean the destruction of hundreds of colonies. But if the AU were forced to submit due to the loss of only one colony, then surely no one could deny the value of this operation.
Some kept telling themselves this until the bitter end, whereas others eventually couldn't stand it anymore. The fact that the Titans allied themselves with Axis Zeon in the later stages of the war, a force that they should have been fighting against, would probably be the final push that many needed. And finally, on number 4, we have the leadership. Simply put, Jomitov was delusional, and that is honestly the kindest way that I can put it. On paper, the Titans were created to fight for the Federation, but de facto, Jomitov wanted to use them as a way for him to get more power. Unfortunately for him, his own fame never rose above that of the Titans as an organization. He thought that he had a private army, but the reality couldn't be further from this.
We're a part of the Earth Federation forces. And I never agreed to be a part of Captain Basque's private force.
Other than pilots joining because they truly believed that they would be protecting the Federation, many also joined for the ideal of Earthnoid supremacy. Sadly, this was something that Jomitov did not have a monopoly over. And to add to this, everyone was even further alienated by the arrogant display of not just Jomitov, but also that of his closest aides. Even high-ranking officers such as Captain Gotti openly showed disgust for them, and it is not surprising that many people joined the Titans with the only goal of eventually leading them, either through climbing the ranks or more, shall we say, Titans-esque strategies. Therefore, it should come as no surprise to anyone that there was only one person saddened by the death/assassination of Jomitov. This lack of trust would severely cripple the Titans in the final stages of the war, with captains such as Gotti acting on their own rather than cooperating with other ships. Unfortunately for the Titans, it would seem that their organization was doomed from the get-go by their leaders. If you think that there are important reasons that I didn't talk about, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. After all, there are many specific instances that I decided to boil down to general statements. If you enjoy my content, leave a like, subscribe, and consider supporting the channel through either Patreon Blades if you want to get some high quality Razor Blades, or Patreon. And that is all for this video, and I will see you all next time when we have a look at 4 cancelled Gundam anime.